Michael. I am a seer, a seeker, a visionary, and a medium. Every Sunday, I present to you spiritual thought leaders from around our world and beyond. Today, I am extra excited. I've got to tell you. With me today is the incredible Dr. Dream and Stephanie. Now, I will give you a little bit of I'll tell you about them after I tell you this. I met them. I didn't exactly meet them. I went to, I lost my client. I lost them. Where'd they go? They'll be back in a minute, I'm sure. I can hear you, but I can't see you. Oh, okay. All right, cool. So I went to an event, October of 2019, and it was 111 Tibetan bowls. Okay, hang on. There they are. 100. They're going to be back in a second. Yeah, there they are. So 111 Tibetan bowls, and they were local. I had never been to any kind of an event like this before. I took myself there. I sat in the front row, and I was mesmerized. I'm mesmerized. And I met a client and a dear friend of mine who I didn't know until that day. And she's probably going to be watching tonight, Diane Hoffma. I know she loves you guys very much. And oh, yeah. And it was an amazing, amazing experience. And I should probably, so many things I want to ask you guys and talk about. But look, you guys know my bowl.
Love that bowl.
I got it from Dr. Dream and Stephanie. That's where I bought my bowl. Isn't that beautiful? I love my bowl so much. And so, oh yeah, I use that all the time. And so let me I probably should introduce them already, but I'm just so excited. So Dr. Dream is a sacred, and Stephanie, a sacred economic entrepreneur. Love to talk about that. Humanitarian, holistic healing practitioner, international speaker, and the bowl whisperer. Recently a stroke survivor. And you can read the bio, but I'd rather just have Dr. Dream and Stephanie talk about themselves. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Dream and Stephanie.
Yay! Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here. It is, we remember the event, and we remember you being in the front row and just the energy of that particular event. Florida has always been amazing for us on the Tour of Love, and that event was definitely one of those. And so nice to be here in this wonderful, crazy, exciting time we find ourselves in.
It is, isn't it? And I'm excited to talk about everything that's been going on with you guys, and it's really kind of like, it's kind of mind blowing, actually, a little bit. It's weird. I'm not somebody to get like weirded out, but I was like so impressed with you guys and so excited. And I didn't get to talk with you that night, Stephanie, for a few moments when I was buying the bowl, but Dr. Dream, he was busy. And I thought, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get to like say hello to him or something, because you both have the most beautiful energy. So I want to start out with just giving it to you guys and tell us about yourselves and what you do, and we'll just go with the flow. Yeah, please.
I guess the big picture and how we met you is 11 years of doing the Tour of Love. We've done now at this point 690 events in those 11 years, and in over 285 cities. And that's the Tour of Love. It's www.touroflove.com. And it's been an absolutely incredible journey. And then it all sort of came to a halt as so many of our life experiences had to shift with the pandemic. And everything changed on March 9th of this year. We canceled all of our events for the rest of the year, which for us, that was before everybody was canceling, and we're like, should we do this? And Source was very clear with us that it was absolutely about canceling. But here we've averaged like 69 events a year or something like that, 60 events a year. And all of a sudden, no events, no plans to do events. And it's like, who are you now? What's your life about? Like, we just went from city to city. We were in a new city every like 3 to 7 days.
That was a frequent thing.
And just touching all these people's lives and getting up and sharing our truths, and which are based in a deep sense of love for humanity. And then that was, pretty much like taken away from us. And so it's nice to be here with you right now.
Well, it's a pleasure and an honor, and this is already a super high vibe live stream. So let's talk about. So you guys live in an amazing. You live on the road, right?
Yes.
We live on the road. We live in a 40-foot luxury travel trailer that we pull with our truck. It's amazing for us. We've had opportunities to find houses, and we've been to so many cities. But it's like, you know what? I wouldn't want to live in a city, and there isn't one place that I would want to base ourselves, and we both agree on that.
Completely.
And so we get to, even outside of the tour was beautiful because we got to pick every single venue and city that we wanted to go to. And so it was like, it was literally, the tour of love was not just us doing events, but it was like where we wanted to go and experience. Oh, wow. Do you see that coming in over here? That's lavender essential oil from our diffuser.
I recognized it. I knew it was a diffuser. At first, I thought it was sage, but I
smoking on the side or something. And by the way, this is us on lavender. You can imagine when we're on, an essential oil that's like really like peppermint. We're all over the place. So yeah, it's we live on the road full time. It used to be a new city every 3 to 7 days. We spent the 60 days of lockdown in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, at a hot springs, and we had our own private hot springs for 60 days. And so it was like people were having a really tremendously challenging time. That was not our challenging time. We came in all sorts of challenges after that. That was our, hey, rest, relax, revitalize. But then the year got very strange for us. My 39-year-old brother transitioned, passed away in Denver.
I'm so sorry.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And then in September, I had September 11th, if you can believe it. Now it means something totally different to me. That's when I had my double stroke in Idaho. And I thought life changed with the pandemic. I thought life changed with my brother dying. And then I really knew life changed for me when I was in a hospital in Pocatello, Idaho for 11 days trying to work with allopathic medicine to heal from my strokes.
Wow. That's I can't even. I mean, I had stage 4 lymphoma a few years ago, but I can't even like fathom, of course, what it would be like to have a double stroke. So there you guys are in you said Idaho?
In Idaho.
And this happened. So, well, so you're both naturally super high vibe, and how are you handling all of this? And because I know I see your posts online, and you're as awesome as ever. So how are you going through this and staying,
Well, I have to say that Stephanie and I have been together for 4 years now, and we, living in a trailer, travel trailer, we call it our sanctuary on wheels, but close all the time, 24/7. Our lives revolved around each other and our path and mission. And more than ever, she became the rock of my existence. For the stroke experience. And it's been amazing to have her by my side and her energy. It was a very challenging time. I mean, you hear about strokes. I didn't know much about strokes. I come to find out that it's the 5th leading cause of death for men is to die from a stroke. But what I thought was, I'm going to be paralyzed. One side of my face isn't going to work. I'm not going to be able to walk in a straight line, and this and that. And we've come a long way. The first 11 days were in the hospital, where they pumped me up on so many drugs that as soon as we got out of that hospital, the patch came off, the pills went away, I don't take aspirin or blood thinners. I mean, it all felt incredibly toxic. In the hospital, they injected me with radioactive iodine to see where blocks were instead of doing thermographic imaging of my carotid arteries and things, which would have shown them more. They ended up telling me that I wasn't at risk, and then we found some alternative doctors, and they're like, well, look at this carotid artery that is more than 25% closed. You got to pay attention to that, Dr. Dream. But I get ahead of myself a little bit. We got a email from a friend of mine on Facebook, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, and she said, it's Dr. Michael, Sandra.
Wonderful related.
Rose Michael, and she said, Dr. Dream, you're an important healer. She's amazing. We'll get you her number, get her on the show too. She is really something. But she said, if you can get to Las Vegas, we need you to continue doing what you're doing. I'm an inventor of a device that is based in scalar technology, scalar energy. And she said, if you can get to Las Vegas, your treatments are on us. And we were in Pocatello, Idaho, which, by the way, beautiful place to be until you're trying to find alternative methods to heal from something. And then it's sorry, Pocatello, but near the bottom of the list. Wow. And so we made our way to Las Vegas. We had to have people help drive our truck and our trailer there, get us there. And after 2 hours in the presence of her scalar energy device, I walked into her home clutching the walker, and I had my wheelchair in the truck. And we laid there. It was a 3-hour session. And after 2 hours, I had to urinate something fierce. And I said to Stephanie, I've got to go to the bathroom. And she said, do you need help? And I said, no. And I stood up and I walked 50 feet to the bathroom on a marble floor, not using my walker, not touching walls, chairs, tables, anything. Peed standing up, I know, TMI, and then walked back to the bedroom, and that was 2 hours. And I hadn't been able to walk unassisted alone since before the strokes. And it was just like, I can't tell you exactly what scalar energy does or how it works, but I always say the proof is in the pudding. And we ended up putting in about 70 hours of treatments there, and really incredible. And then they have a smaller, more portable device than what we were experiencing. I'm just going to show it to you really quick. Yeah, it's right here on the floor. It's called an EE Cube, and we keep it on all the time. It's got 4 monitors, 1 on each side. It's a 4-unit system. And and then there's Brian Besco's tensor ring technology from twistedsage.com. Okay. And we've really been embracing the tools, but that in itself, the scalar technology, is what made all the difference. And a shout out to her website, eesystem.com, and it's full of research. And there's locations in Florida. I know that like Naples or Sarasota. Yeah, got to get on the website eesystem.com and check it out. But this scalar energy is an absolute game changer, and I attribute the fact that I'm walking, talking. I still have some minor issues. I refer to them as minor issues for someone who had 2 strokes. But I attribute my greatest healing to the love from Stephanie and the scalar energy device.
I would like to comment a little bit, because while I definitely did play a large role, and the scalar energy played a tremendous role, he is so very humble. I'm a big believer in what you put out is what you get back. And he has this positive vibration of knowing that things are going to get better, even when they're the most challenging they've ever been in his life. His attitude never dropped to a low. He learned to embrace the stroke experience and to really become a survivor, and to allow it to benefit him to the greatest potential. And he really did just hold on to positivity and inner knowing and love, and allow that to then reflect back to him in his healing process. You played a major role, Ben.
Thank you.
Don't just give it all to me and
No, I mean, everything worked. Let's just say everything worked. And I mean, there is a point that, I was telling someone the story about my experience, and I said, my strokes. And he said, no, you can't say my strokes because you're owning it. And I said, right, I'm owning it. I manifested that. And if I don't own it, I'm pushing it away. I'm fighting against it. These are my strokes. I gave it to myself on some level to have a lesson, to learn something. And I'm going to come back stronger, more powerful, more me than I've ever been. And so there's something big to the attitude that, it's like, it's that classic thing. What do you do, when you've got lemons? You make lemonade. And by the way, we're at this lovely RV park, and right outside our window here is a lemon tree.
Oh my God, they're beautiful.
So we've learned, like whatever it is about finding the beauty in it. Even the most challenging, the things that push you to your limit, sometimes on the surface are the most ugly, but beneath the surface, they are truly the most beautiful.
I agree. The cancer, I personally don't call it but I love what you've done with that, though. That's really awesome. The fact that you're owning it and empowered, but I don't call it but anyway, when I had stage 4 lymphoma, at first I was in shock, and then, I'm sure anybody would be, but then I quickly realized that I felt free somehow. I don't know why. I don't know if that's anything like your experience, but I felt I don't know. It was different for me, but I realized also quickly that it was my greatest teacher, and also I guess kind of felt like I didn't have anything. There's only one way to go, but up, So I love that you let go of all the medicine. I actually had, I went through 6 months of chemo because I felt obligated. I felt like I had to. I was pressured, and I didn't know any healers at the time. I didn't know anything about all the things I do now. I didn't know anything about them at the time. So I did what I thought I had to do. And then as soon as I finished the 6 month, I only went back a year later just to have him tell me that it doesn't look like you even ever had it. And that was the last time I ever went. I never went through any more medication. I don't take medicine either. So I love what you're saying. I love how you've gone through so much, and you've done it together, and you've just overcome. And I know it says stroke survivor, but I just, more like thriver,
I've got a hat that I normally wear that says we had them made in Las Vegas, because that's where the healing took place for us. And it says stroke survivor. And I love that, because I ended up in the beginning, I was stroke victim. And then I was stroke survivor, and then it's like, no, I'm going to go beyond this now. And what's the next thing? And it's like, wow, thriver. Let's do that. And it's what you make of it. I know I didn't come here to be crushed by this human experience, and I Lord knows we have all had the experience that we could have allowed to crush us. And I'm like, no. This isn't it. This could have been an exit point, and my soul said, no, we're not going to take this one. We got more work to do here. So we're super excited to be in a place where we're identifying, like, okay, like we just thrived this. Now, why? In my mind, it's like, why did I live through this? What is the next step for the tour of love? What is the next step for us and our path and mission together? And let's figure that out. So a lot of people want to know what we're doing. We did 3 events in Lawrence, Kansas. Okay. But these are funky times, as though I need to let anyone know that. The first night we had 2 people.
And one of them was our daughter's fiance.
Right. So that was interesting.
Wow.
So really like one person, but it was 2. The next night we had 9 people. And then the next night we had 21 people. But, it's not about the money, but, we lost money on those events. it was challenging. Facebook shut down our advertising because they said that it was about social action or politics in the election. And it was just like, you've got to be kidding me, And so we've decided to take the next year off.
Okay.
And we're going to go to national parks. We're going to get back to biking and kayaking. And I was a photographer for many years, and we're going to get back into photography. And Stephanie is an avid hiker. So our new dog and I will hang out, and Stephanie will go on those big major hikes that she does. And we're open for God source the universe to show us what our next steps are. One of the things we know we'll be doing, just not sure about the timing yet, again, with the politics and COVID and everything else, all the fear, we call it our 50 and 5 plan. And that is to have 50 healing centers based in the scalar technology, the scalar energy, in 5 years. Now, it'll start when we open our first one, and I believe it'll be sometime next year that we'll take a little time off from, or toward the end of the year, we'll open that first center, and there'll be franchises. So there'll be turnkey operations for people that want the latest cutting edge technology and a system that's already set up, tried and true, and you just walk in, take the keys, and it's like, this is now my center, and it'll have yoga, sound healing, and the scalar technology.
Wow. That sounds incredible. And I love how you guys incorporate living a super high vibrational life, doing for others, and yet creating a business for yourselves and even opportunities for other people as well. That impressed me when I met you too, talking about the bowls and how they were made in Tibet and the whole story behind the bowl. Did you want to mention that at all?
Yeah, I mean, you read the bio where it's I refer to myself as a sacred economic entrepreneur.
Yes.
And it really has everything to do with new paradigm business and how does that work. Our bowls, we just right before everything hit the fan, we spent the month of December in Nepal. And I'd never been to Nepal, but we probably have had maybe 7,000 bowls go through our hands.
Wow.
On the tour of love. And I always said we were supporting 2 villages. And when we got over there, what we realized is we were supporting like 300 to 500 families. And that each family was making a bowl every day and a half. And it was just incredible. And we got to meet some of the people that are making our bowls, and we got to meet their children, and we got to be part of the process. And by the way, you'll never get a bowl made by the 2 of us, okay? And one day we'll put that video. No, maybe we won't. The video of us making bowls, we were taking the hammer and striking the hot red metal, and the actual bowl maker was holding the metal with a big metal clamp, and the look of fear on his face when I was swinging this sledgehammer. Yeah, we won't be making bowls anytime soon, but we the people that we're supporting, and one of the most beautiful things that came out of it is that we're supporting a way of life, and a way of life that's going away as the world expands into this big commercial, everyone wants to be first world and all this kind of environment, and the people that work with us were able to keep their families together and not have to travel into Kathmandu to work a particular kind of job they didn't really want to work. They could practice their artisan skills that their fathers and their grandfathers did in making these bowls. And now that's pretty much stopped. We'll make our last payment to Nepal we were on a payment plan this whole time, and our last payment is next month, $11,000.
Wow.
And even during the pandemic, we've managed to get that together and through all the health stuff and everything. And We're going to send that to Nepal next week, and it'll be the first time in years we've been completely even with them. But we look forward to placing more orders for bowls and supporting the families. That's the thing. We look at this pandemic, and of course, here we all are in the United States and how it's affected us. But we're in touch with our families in Nepal every week or two. And there's no tourism. They're I don't know if they're still on lockdown, but they're staying home. They're with their families, which again has been like part of the silver lining with this. Even though in this country they tell us not to gather with our families for the holidays and all this, it's just a crazy time. But we're hoping that whatever the new normal is, that it's as exciting and fun and creates as many opportunities for sacred interaction as we found in the past.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because it really impressed me. And I made my last payment to you from my bowl last month. That was my last payment from my own bowl. And I love that. I was really excited because I did not go to your event thinking I was going to buy a bowl. I had no clue in the world that I was making an investment that night. But then there it was, and there were the opportunity. And I just thought that was such an amazing thing that you were allowing people to pay them off. And you were allowed us to choose our own price, how much we wanted to put down, what we wanted to pay every month. I never saw anything like that before. Just the level of trust in strangers was incredible. And I was never late on a single payment, of course. I'm like, it just so important. It meant a lot to me. And I really thank you for that. I just never wanted to tell you that. I never got to say thank you. Yeah.
And Annie, I appreciate that so much. And we appreciate you making your payments and everything. And any old paradigm business person would have said, Dr. Dream, Stephanie, you guys are freaking nuts. And here during the whole pandemic, we were running charges on the 1st and the 15th of every month. And we've been able to continue sending money back to take care of the agreement we had. It was never set up that, the sacred economic agreement was that we would send payments every single month. And when we stopped the tour in March, we were up to sending $13,000 every single month. And it wasn't for nothing. It wasn't a donation. It was literally the money that we owed to the people, the families that were making our bowls. And that's why this next payment is so meaningful, because even through the pandemic, because of people like you continuing to make their payments and everything, we've been able to continue to make our payments and not leave people out on the lurch, out on the edge in Nepal, which would have just been crushing to us.
Absolutely. I love everything that you're saying, and I love you both so much. So I love your Scooby-Doo behind you. You got a painting of Scooby-Doo. I want you to tell us about that if you're drawn, because it's my favorite cartoon of all time.
So before Christmas last year, I got a text message from my older brother, and he says, "Hey, what's your guys' favorite cartoon?" And I didn't think much of it. I'm just like, of course, Scooby-Doo. It's always been, and it's always been his too. Like, we just completely resonate there. And it's a large item. So my brother just kept telling me, I have the coolest Christmas present for you, but it's big and I can't give it to you until I see you. And I'm like, why did you get us something big? We live in a 40-foot travel trailer. And I'm kind of stressed. Like, he's so excited about this gift. And I'm like, Drew, I don't have a lot of space. And we get there and we open up our gifts, and this is what he did for us. He had a,
And so here is, here's my daughter Maya, and Stephanie is here. And of course, Scooby-Doo and myself. This building right here came from a picture when Stephanie and I took Maya, my daughter, to Amsterdam for her graduation from high school. And this was the view we had across the street. So this is the Amsterdam facade of the building. And then, I've just never seen anything like it. And we got it, and we hadn't put anything on this wall yet. And it's the biggest empty open space in the trailer. And we were like, no wonder this is perfect. Exactly where it needs to go.
It fits perfectly. And it was just a very personalized gift. He had a cartoonist, turn us into characters and send in 3 photos for him to kind of like work with. And yeah, we absolutely love it. I was quite impressed. I was like, good job. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love it. It's incredible. It's incredible. And you guys have a new puppy, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Can we meet your puppy?
It's sleeping. Should we wake her up?
Yeah. Let's
Let's get her
talk
to the
about her
end.
first, and then we'll wake her up at the end, because once we wake her up, she's going to be hungry for our attention.
Yes.
Okay.
She is a petite golden doodle, and she's a combination of a poodle and a golden retriever, and her name is Bliss. She weighs under 4 pounds now. Maybe she'll weigh 15 or 16 pounds. And we wanted a dog that's hypoallergenic. If it's possible, whatever the new normal is, we thought we're in all these different cities. Let's have a dog we can take into children's hospitals. Let's have a dog we can take into senior centers and hospitals, and share our energy and have this dog. So her name is Bliss. And it was fascinating because she was one of 3 females. And we were given the choice we had first female choice. And so we got pictures sent to us and everything. And we do things a little differently than people. And this is my pendulum right here. And we literally, of course.
Yeah.
We literally asked the pendulum which dog was ours for our greatest and highest good. And we were emotionally attached to the pictures and all of this, but I had Stephanie give each dog a number, and not in the order that we've received it. So it's like, oh, it's dog number 1, dog number, and her name at that point, the name they gave her was Echo, and Pendulum told us that Echo was the dog for us, and it's wild when you trust the tools and give yourself over to trusting the tools, because we're like, are you sure? Because Ada's really cute. Like, Ada, are you sure it's not Ada? And there was a thought like, maybe we should ask again. And I'm like, that's not really the way it works. Like in order for us to trust it. And we do this when people want to order bowls from us. They'll tell us what they want, what their budget is, and then we'll sit here with our list of bowls and we'll say, is it in tub number 1? Is it in tub number 2? Is it stack number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And then we'll test each bowl in that stack. And that's how we've been finding the bowls for people. And what it does is it takes us out of it. It takes our reality-minded thought process, rational mind out of it. And we were really tested with doing this for our dog, because it's like, really, we're going to trust the pendulum? And what it came down to was, yeah, absolutely, we're going to trust the pendulum. And there's no question that this is the dog that came in to be our dog. She embodies her name, Bliss, and she'll be at events with us. I mean, it's very important that she's incredibly obedient. And we had a dog, Jake, that transitioned 3.5 years ago, and he was with me for 14 years.
Wow.
And he would be at events with me, and he would stay up on stage in his bed and all this. But then toward the end, a minister in Orange County, California, came up to me after an event and said, your dog just lifted his leg right in front of me inside the venue. And I'm just like, no. That was time for him not wanting to really be at the events anymore. But we want to have Bliss there, and she just moved her leg when I said that. So here at about a quarter till the hour, we'll bring her out and introduce her. And she has her own Instagram account. So anyone on Instagram can type in, I am Bliss Dream. I am Bliss Dream. And it's her own account. She's writes about what it's like to be in the dream family and to have these 2 new humans as her humans. And it's super special.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I love that so much on so many different levels. I channel my dogs and cats, and Spirit's been calling me to do more writing from their perspective as well. I want to, on Christmas, Eve Day. I'll just very quick story. I found a dog outside, a cute little, well-groomed, fuzzy little dog with like curly hair and groomed ears, but he was lost. And I spent the whole day. He had the most amazing adventures. We met all kinds of people. We knocked on doors. We called the pound, and lady came down. She was super nice, but I couldn't let him go. I couldn't. I said, he's going to be in a cage. She goes, yeah. I said, oh, no, you can't do that. And I didn't want to bring him in my house. I didn't know the dog. I have 2 amazing dogs and cats. So anyway, the long story, the long and short of it is basically the whole thing played out like an adventure. This dog manifested for himself. And in my head, I was writing this story as we went along. So I'm looking forward to I Am Bliss Dream on Instagram. I Am Bliss Dream, and that is Bliss's own Instagram site. Yes.
Yeah, and the photos, like this dog is more photogenic than any. I just can't imagine. I mean, I guess people talk. I have a daughter, and I've always talked about her this way also, and everything. But it's like everyone talks about their dog, the most beautiful dog and everything. And we can't get a bad picture of Bliss. I mean, Stephanie took a picture of her butt the other night just because she was walking away, and I'm like, that is a great shot. I don't know. It's.
I totally resonate with what you're saying. My dogs and my cats are my angels, and I'm looking forward to meeting Bliss as well. But I want to ask you before we do that. So it sounds to me, and from my experience listening to you guys live, and now that basically what you guys do is help other people. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you spend your life figuring out ways to help other people in this country and other countries. And have I have this anywhere near close to correct somehow?
Yeah.
You're a humanitarian, yes?
We believe that it is, our personal life mission to be in service to humanity and to do what we can to assist in raising the vibration of our fellow men and women. So, as we all rise, we rise together. And, we can't go, how do you say, trying to raise your own personal consciousness without trying to assist in raising the consciousness of others is like one piece of sand trying to evolve to a different beach or something from the rest of the pieces of sand. And it's like we are all one, we are all connected. So the more that we can really assist each other in finding how to embody love and compassion and strength and respect for everyone, the more that we can share that, the more that people can do that, the more that we really create heaven on earth.
I think for all of us, we get to a place in our lives where we say, okay, I've tried a lot of things. I've played out a lot of experiences. Why am I really here? Like, why do I exist in this reality? And for both of us, when we asked that, I mean, for me, it came to, I'm here to be a beacon of love. And when you first saw me, what was your phrasing of that?
My phrase has always been, I am here to be an embodiment of love.
And so, of course, and here we are, the tour of love, and it just all makes sense. And that's why it got weird for us with the pandemic and everything else.
We're not supposed to hug people anymore?
Right. I can't see people's faces. No one can see me smiling, like at them in the grocery store where nobody smiles at each other. And, all of this. And so it's been, but we realize it's on a deeper level, and it's the energy that you own and the energy, Power versus Force, the David Hawkins book, about how one person holding a certain vibration or resonance on the scale can shift for 30 or 40 million or 70 million people that are holding a lower frequency, and how that works. And so it's really been an incredible experience, because when you give yourself over to that, it's fascinating. Like we don't need to overtly be selling and doing things like that. And you saw at the event, it was never about us being like salespeople. And people have said, oh, you've got to go online now that the pandemic's over, and you can charge, and you can do this, and you can do that. And I said, people are dealing with enough right now. We're dealing with enough. We're taking it as an opportunity to regroup and to reestablish and to get healthier. I mean, you know, one of the things for me, and I haven't talked about it publicly, this could be my coming out of experience right here, is, you know, I smoked marijuana for 40 years. And after my stroke, I have no desire for it at all. And I said to Stephanie, what would it have been that would have gotten me to the point that I wouldn't be interested in marijuana anymore? It was like a tool, a sacrament daily for me. And now, you know, no interest at all in it. And so I'm interested to see where else this is going to go for me and what that expansion is. While I thought that it was a great medicine and sacrament, I mean, I don't think doing something every day is quite the right ingredient. And so I'm excited about all the changes that come about from all of this, and then how that shifts into our outreach.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that here. I'm quite honored.
Never told that. We haven't told that publicly at all. I think that people might be, I don't know, look at me. I look like I smoked marijuana for 40 years, but I don't think that everyone, anyway, I'm happy that this is the talk about.
I'm really glad. You know, I had other things in my own life. I've talked about some of them. I've had other guests that talked about things, and you know, and marijuana is actually probably one of the healthier things. But I like you said, anything that you have to do every day, you know,
right?
That's where the, you know. So I thank you for that. Did you say David Hawkins? Because I never heard this before. What you're talking about with the high vibration, I really need to read this.
Yeah, the book is called Power versus Force, and it's available on Amazon. You can also just Google it and get like, you know, kind of the synopsis of the Cliff's Notes version of it. But we do a workshop called Life is a Game, a frequency game. And it's how to achieve a high frequency in life and then be able to hold it. And his work is incredibly powerful because it shows in no uncertain terms how it works. And a majority of the population on this planet, I mean, and I would say particularly right now with all this going on, are below the 200 level, which is where it shifts from force to power. Okay. And then it goes up to the level of 1,000, which is the level of Christ consciousness. And very few people are over 500. But if someone comes in at, say, 700 on the scale, they offset more than 70 million people that are below 200. And you know, we could muscle test or use the pendulum to find out where we're at, what our number is. I'm not interested. All I know is each day I'm reaching for the higher vibrational thought, the higher vibrational action, knowing that that's having a reverberating effect through all of humanity. And so whether I'm in front of 500 people, we're in front of 500 people doing an event, or we're sitting in Tucson, Arizona, surrounded by citrus trees, we're still having the impact on the planet that we came here to have.
I love that. I don't know if you're familiar with, you probably are, Abraham Hicks.
Of course.
Okay, so they say one person in alignment is more powerful than millions who are not. And what you just said is in complete alignment with that quote.
Yeah, so this is the scientific like proof of that for people that need that. You know, Abraham Hicks was always enough for me, but some people need the statistics and the numbers and the this and the that. But it's true, and it's made a huge difference for us going through the pandemic and the results of it and the continuing fear-based energy. And so we know that we're here for that. You know, we have a very powerful message for people about vitamin D. We have close people in our lives that have been diagnosed with COVID-19, and that was recently. But starting in October, they started taking high quantity of vitamin D, 5,000 units a day. And these are gentlemen in the 80s and she's 70s or something like that. And both of them are in the high risk category, and they didn't have to be hospitalized. They didn't have the respiratory issues and all this. They started taking zinc as soon as they were sick.
Okay.
And so our message to people now is start taking high quantities, 5,000 units a day of vitamin D. It's going to make all the difference for you. And there's no scientific toxicity to vitamin D. And you can go down to your local natural foods market, grocery store, vitamin store, and get it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. My mom is 90. She's going to be 91 on January 9th. And she was diagnosed with it a few months ago. And she never had a symptom, which is awesome. So, but I also know a few other people that did, and then they've healed from it. But vitamin D, that's great information there. That's what you get from
all you have to do, because don't take my word for it, go to Google, type in vitamin D COVID-19, and the studies come up. I think 119 scientists from Europe, the UK, and the United States sent a letter to all the world governments telling them that vitamin D was the answer and would help what's going on.
Cool. I don't know why this is coming in, but I feel drawn to ask you guys what are your feelings about multidimensional beings and disclosure and anything like that? Any thoughts?
Well, we're not alone here. We never have been alone here. For any of us to think that we're alone in this reality, to me is, sorry, but a little bit laughable. But in my 20s, in the build-up to becoming Dr. Dream, I had some very powerful psychedelic experiences. And these were with some very powerful tools, sacred mushrooms and ceremony, ayahuasca with a shaman in Peru for several weeks, DMT, which is a fascinating substance that's naturally occurring in our brains right now. And I came into contact with multidimensional beings.
Oh, wow.
And in my book that I don't know if I'll ever finish, my chapter on mentors, I talk about my father, I talk about my grandfather, but more than the two of them, I talk about how psychedelics and these beings taught me and opened me up to a reality that a Jewish boy that was raised in Omaha, Nebraska, never would have had the opportunity to learn. And so I think it's great. I think disclosure will happen when people are ready for it, and who knows? People are so ready to take the fear bait that perhaps disclosure could be real disclosure of what's truly happening in this reality could be a bit much. If people are interested, I did a radio show for years called Awake in the Dream Radio. And it was with Laura Eisenhower, who's the great-granddaughter of Ike. And it's available on iTunes for free, Awake in the Dream Radio. And we interviewed some of the top people and the stories about, interaction and life on Mars and what's happening in reality and everything else are pretty amazing. So definitely we're not here alone, and I believe that we're being helped at the highest levels.
Thank you for sharing that. Even though I didn't know any of that about you, I just knew, it just came in, and I'm like, I always channel my questions. I'm like, all right, I'm going to ask the question. I knew I would. There, Spirit, thank you. High five, Spirit.
That was a good one, right? High five, Spirit.
High five. So you were mentioning, so a Jewish boy from Nebraska. I was born Jewish myself, actually. I mean, I don't think that's a surprise, but you know who's that guy that became a guru? He went to India. He was with Leary.
Ram Dass.
That's him. Yeah, he was also the Jewish boy who got into a brilliant man like yourself, right? That's interesting. I think a lot. I've watched documentaries on his life, more than just I think it's so interesting to see that. Like, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but I just just popped into my head, so I just put it out there.
I mean, I think that the tools are here for a reason, you know, and I traded the sacred mushrooms for a pendulum and for, you know, amazing crystals, and scalar technology, and you know, here's a device from Blue Shield that we carry with us when we're not in the presence of our other devices, and all of it is the tools that are available to raise our frequency. And not everything is for everyone, but I have to say, for both of us, the psychedelic medicines have played a. Stephanie's like, I can't believe you're bringing me into this now. The psychedelic medicines have played a really big role, and this was before we ever met each other and everything. And actually, one of those medicines guided you to me to come to the event. And,
I wanted to ask you about that. If I may I ask, do we have time for me to ask Stephanie how you guys met before or is that, I don't want you to be, I know you have something to do later. Do we have time to ask you that and then meet Bliss?
Sure, yeah. So I first met him 2 months before we like personally connected. My friend had been really, really wanting me to go to this conference of different high vibrational, you know, like mentors and speakers.
Star Knowledge Conference.
It was the first thing like that I'd ever been to. I'd met a couple of spiritual people so far along the way, but that wasn't quite my scene yet. And had my friend just be like, you know, you just need to go. I'll buy your ticket. Like, don't worry about it. Like, you have to come. You know, like, you have to meet Dr. Graham. You have to meet him. Like, he's amazing. And so he'd just been completely hyped up to me, and I met him for a quick second during somebody else's talk. So we just met very briefly, and then he did his performance, which really, really, really took me away. Like, I was just like, wow. I was just sitting in the front row, and I'm like, who is this human being? Like, this is amazing. And he just, everything that he said resonated with me, and like what he was doing resonated with me on the levels of like what I wanted to do. As the event ended, I really wanted to run up and like hug him, and I was sitting there and I was telling myself in my head, I'm like, don't rush him, just sit here, And as soon as he stepped off the stage, I rushed him.
To the very first person
I was
that came up
right there. And I was there like to be a fan in that moment. And I looked at him and I said, you know, you're somebody that I would like to look to as a hero. Like, that was really good. And he just looked me right in the eye and he goes, look to me as an equal.
Ooh.
You know, and that was it. Like, and then he walked away and was brushed by a bunch of other people. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, like that's a deep like response for me. It was kind of like an invitation to like, hey, like, don't put me on a pedestal. Like, get up here, like, you know, like, be the light. Like, you have the potential to like be an equal. Don't just sit there and like be like, oh wow, it's so amazing that you can do that. Like, you can do it too. And so I started following him in his events online. And I was
stalking, I believe they call it.
I was traveling at the time, going to different national parks and just kind of traveling and just kind of getting connected with my inner self. And I was actually down here in Tucson, spending time in Saguaro National Park. I was doing like kind of like a self-opponent like Vipassana. I was just alone and in the solitude and really like enjoying my time and my space. And I knew that his last round of West Coast events were coming up. And I wanted to go, but then I was like, you know, no, like, I'm doing this Vipassana thing. Like, I don't need to go right now. And on day 3, I decided to, I was called by the medicines to sit in ceremony with some changa, which is...
DMT is the main ingredient.
That is the main ingredient. And it is typically a substance that you close your eyes for and you go inward. And some people will say that you can go into other dimensions and realities with it. It is quite a fascinating substance. So I laid on a picnic table, closed my eyes. And as soon as I closed my eyes, I realized that no, that is not what this is about. You are to sit up and you are to watch the earth around you. And I'm sitting there in the cactus forest of Saguaro National Park. And I'm watching the energy of the cactuses all reaching up for the sky, reaching for the sun, being the energy and the life that they are. And I'm just watching life and like what it means to be. And I just get this deep download that is like, I'm mobile. I have legs that are supposed to move around. I'm not supposed to sit in just one place and admire the beauty. I'm supposed to go and be what I can be, which is a mobile being of light. sharing light and love. And I knew at that time that it was time to go to San Diego to join his events. And
she signed up to be an angel. And we went out to dinner that night afterwards because I didn't have to pack up till the next day. And I consider that our first date. And we had another date. And then I got the download of why we met. And at the beginning of our third date, I said, we're meant to be in relationship together. You're meant to travel with me on the tour of love. And I joke, you know, everyone's thinking, wow, that's crazy. And I'm like, right? That's a fourth date experience for sure. But again, the proof is in the pudding. And that was 4 years ago. Wow. She stepped up. You know, this wasn't her background. Being in front of people wasn't her background. Speaking to hundreds of people in an event wasn't her background. But she's dedicated. She's committed. She works harder than anyone I know, and she paid her dues. I mean, we've done hundreds of events together, and it's really been incredible. But from the rational mind, people would say again, Dr. Dream, Stephanie, you're both crazy. You know, like what's up with you two? And it's like, hey, listen, this reality is crazy. This whole thing, just the fact that we can embody as humans is outrageous, okay? So like what? Everything's then supposed to be like normal after that? No, like, and we've just embraced how all of it works. I'm gonna grab her.
Let me take her out for a second.
Okay. Stephanie will take her out so she doesn't wee during our introduction of her.
Okay.
So it's our life is one about really just embracing what's in front of us, realizing that everything happens for a reason. Like most people would have dated, you know, 2-3 years and we were just like, no, and there's an age difference between us. And most people would have said, whoa, that's just crazy, you two. That doesn't make any sense at all. And we're like, you know what? What's the age of a soul? You know, and so we showed up at this time, and I have to say that her energy is so helpful. Her youthful energy is so helpful for me, and particularly with my strokes and everything, to rise to the occasion. I mean, to be here and to be present. And I don't know what it would have been like without her or for any of all of this. And so it's fascinating.
It was meant to be the way it is. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's so beautiful. I want to say, so JCR Rescue saying aloha, Brada and Steph.
There we go.
Okay. And then we have Zaya Shields sending hearts. Joe Two Heart says, yep, ever since I was young, I knew there was more to the world. I can actually put it on the screen. I knew there was more to the world than we can see and feel. And that his favorite cartoon is also Scooby-Doo. Oh, goodness.
And now to the world, in her first presentation to the world, this is Bliss.
Bliss? Oh, my goodness. She yawned. Did you see her yawn? Oh.
She just woke up.
Welcome. Wake up. I mean, good afternoon. Look at that face. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I can't wait to this dog. Oh, my goodness. I don't know what else to say. She's the cutest thing.
She really is.
She has these little paws. They're just so small and cute.
And she's not even 4 pounds yet. And she is just, I mean, she's just the joy. She's the joy of our experience right now. And how most people don't have the opportunity of getting a puppy and being able to have, being able to, you know, our time right now is dedicated to being good parents, and with it comes some great lessons and experiences. It's not easy to be a conscious puppy parent. And one of the things I realized this morning is that whether you're raising, like, there's so many different thoughts about what to do to raise puppies. And one person will say this about crate training, and another person will be adamantly on the other side of the crate training thing. And it's like, wow, it's that way with everything in our reality. And then it's up to us to weave our way through it, whether it's how to raise a child, a puppy, whether it's about these vaccinations that are coming out, how to make our way through all of this with all the differing information, right? And everything about it. Let's just see if we can get her a little bit up close.
Oh my goodness, Bliss, look at you. You're so pretty. Hi, honey. Look at the pretty face.
Look at that. I mean, really, wow, how cool. So this has been an incredible interview and opportunity to share. We've shared things that we've never shared publicly, including our dog, but also about aspects of our experience. And I've got to say, my dear, that has everything to do with how you and your energy are able to hold space. And I love when you said that other people have had the same experience with you. And I'm like, of course they have, because you know how to hold space for us and have us feel safe to share our truth and who we are. And so what an absolute treat. I hope you'll invite us back.
I would be honored. I would absolutely love that. All three of you.
Yes. And she'll be a different dog, you know, like in weeks, months, you know, a year. And so it's so exciting for us. And yes.
I'm really excited for you. I am. The whole experience. I raised my I call him my puppy, but he's like 5.5 years old now. My dog Paws the pup from a little baby, and I never raised a dog before from the baby. And I understand. I know it was challenging for me too, and I'd never done it. But the experience has been life-changing for me, and he's the best dog. Both my dogs are the best dogs, but of course you have the best dog as well. You know, but I'm just. But
everyone has a dog.
I mean, let's all raise the best dogs and raise them consciously, and let's raise the best children and raise them consciously, and let's raise the best of ourselves and raise ourselves consciously, because that's really what we're talking about. I'm just noticing the chat here, and I want to hold on. I want to thank Abriella and Zia and others of our close friends for being here with us and sharing this moment. You two, Abriella and Zia, have been two huge supporters of myself and Stephanie and what we're here to do. And wow, it just warms my heart that you're both here at the same time.
I love it. And you guys are here on my show, and you guys are here in our chat. And I wanted to say thank you so much to Dr. Dream and to Stephanie and to Bliss and to all of you who are here today sharing this beautiful energy with us. This has been a real treat for me. I've enjoyed every moment. And I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. And thank you for my bowl. And thank you for that event. And thank you for everything that you're going to do in the future for all these amazing people, because you really touch lives in such a big way. So, yeah.
It's beautiful for us to be here with you obviously doing what's part of your passion and what's part of your path and mission here. And of course, like energy attracts like energy, and we love you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.